calling down my name. Why don't you hear me wonder? Ooh, ooh. Oh, midnight highway, shining just like sin. Why don't you hear me wonder? Ooh, ooh. Tell me, river, where your current flows. Why don't you hear me wonder? Ooh, ooh. Oh, stop your freight train, let a lost man ride. Why don't you hear me wonder? Ooh, ooh. Fare you well, darling, ain't coming back no more. Why don't you hear me wonder? Ooh, ooh. Who been whispering since I've been gone so long? Freedom calling.
No, it's like it's recording now, but we don't have to.
No, that's fine.
We can edit out whatever. So, Keith, how do you say your last name, Keith?
Dovichi.
Dovichi.
Yep.
All right. Where are you roughly? You don't have to share where you are. I don't give a shit. But you're in the west, north, south.
Communist California.
No shit, really? Crazy.
Up by Yosemite.
How long you been there in that state?
I just moved here. Well, I've been in this state all my life.
Really?
I watched it go from a good state to what it is now.
So it's insane, is what we're seeing on mainstream.
Worse.
You see that piece of shit Newsom just signed that the Nick Shirley Act, where they prevent anybody from looking into fraud.
And you know the sad thing about it is the way that they've got this voting shit set up and locked in. They've put laws in place to where you can't argue about the way that the laws are in place.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, it's sick.
Holy shit. It's like up here in Canada, Stan, the so-called government that's in power, they've been in power for quite some time. They blocked the RCMP into investigating their illegal doings.
Same thing. Just like that Nick Shirley Act that they did.
Yeah.
That's
not even trying to hide it from the people.
Yep. Preventing anybody to look at it. You know, them going down on Skid Row in LA and recording all these people, giving them cigarettes or $5 or $1 just to sign up on the registration of the voting for that governor or the mayor race that they went through. You see that one? How it dropped and flat. Yeah. Anyway.
Reminds me, I remember in Alabama, in a tiny remote county where my buddies live, they had B trains of trailers. Obama had trailers of cheese and free cell phones backed up to these rural shithole communities, just pumping it out to all these people that didn't even really know who he was, just to get the vote.
The millions that came across the border?
Yeah. It's like, really? You gave them a bunch of cheese and some iPhones, they can't afford to pay the bills.
Exactly. Well, the government pays the bill for them.
Really helping the community out.
Well, their community,
Yeah.
their sanctuary areas, if you
Yeah.
want to go that route. But
So you were gold mining, right?
yes, sir.
Did you find much?
Yeah, but I cashed my 10 ounces out when it got to 2,000 an ounce.
Damn. Isn't that crazy?
Go figure, right? Go
Does
figure.
ever, do you ever want to go back and dig some more, or did you dry it up?
I did, but I got kind of ran out of there. See, the federal law doesn't allow you to live on your property on the claim
Oh yeah,
unless you're working it, and then you're going to go 6 months on, 6 months off.
right.
Well, I just pitched camp there. Fire went through there. The Butte fire ran through there and just destroyed the forest around there. Right after I put my claim in.
Damn.
And when I went back, then the atmospheric rivers started. We lost the road in 10 places.
No.
I had no equipment, so I had to build the road back and cut all the trees that had fallen out from the fire out of the road. I cut over almost 900 trees out of the road, a 3-mile stretch. But I finally got it in there, got my tent in place, put a deck on it, put a tent up, started messing with all the bears that were coming in. And then I finally, after the 3rd season, I think I was there, said, screw it. And I built a structure around my tent and then put a cover over it. That way I was out of the sun, out of the direct rain. And then I had one of these people come in.
What people?
The hairy naked people.
Oh no shit. Is that the first time?
Yeah, well, that was the first time in that area that I had interaction with them.
Really?
Prior to that, I've had other people come up, take them down to the river and stuff and go mining. And one incident was with my buddy that had another claim down on the river, and his girlfriend came up. And we were down and working on the river all day, coming up in the evening time, and we heard the whoop. And they both stopped dead in their tracks. Looked around and I go, oh shit, whoop. And it answered, except it was down below where we just came from. Their eyes got about that big around. They started to take off. I said, stop. Don't run. You're going to be an animal getting chased. And they slowed down a little bit. Then we hear this whap right above us. They turned around and said, what was that? I said, tree dogs, right on. Let's do it. No. They were gone. They weren't even waiting at the truck. Yeah, they weren't even waiting on the truck when I got there. They were gone. They just could beat feet.
Really?
So, about 2 or 3 weeks later, I'm minding my own business, came in from shopping, and about 9 o'clock in the evening, I think it was dark, I heard that scream that make your blood turn cold.
Oh yeah.
And
how far away?
right above camp, about 100 yards.
Yeah.
It made me actually vomit.
No shit.
Yeah, I just stuck my head out the door of the tent and started puking.
No way.
And I grabbed every rifle I had. I had a 7-mag, a 30-06. I had my 9mm, a shotgun. I was laying it all there. I had my machete next to me, my big side knife. And he let out another one. He started throwing trees down into the camp.
No shit.
And I literally see, I've been attacked by ghosts, spirits, Indian, shit that you'd never think that you
Weird
could
shit.
get scared more than that. I sat in the fetal position in tears, and I couldn't wait for dusk to come.
No shit. Was this before the fires?
No, it was after the fire. When I
Really?
already got down to camp, yeah. What it was.
How far could you see in that burnt out timber roughly after the fire?
At nighttime, not very far.
No, but just roughly in the daytime. How far can you see through that
100,
shit?
150 yards. I could see some spots up to 600-700 yards because there wasn't any tree brush.
And the ground was still bare when shit was going down?
Yeah.
All right.
So the next morning, as soon as the light came visible where I could actually see, I looked out and I saw the trees that were laying down around my truck. Some of them were hitting on my truck and stuff. And I had a 2-wheel drive at that time. And Ford F-150. And it had rained. And there's a couple spots in the road that, that I had to rebuild that were still loose soil. So, and I got up to that one spot and started spinning and sliding back down. And one side goes straight down, the other side goes straight up. And I hit one of the fallen trees that I had pushed out of the road, and it stopped me from going over the edge. So I was stuck. And cell phone service is spotty at best, And I started walking the road trying to grab a signal. And I looked down, and there's these foot track. They were about 18 inches. And my body went cold again. The hair on my neck stood up, and I just knew I was being watched. And as soon as I picked up a signal, I called my buddy that ran out of there that time. And I said, I'll give you my odd 6 if you come and get me out of this fucking place. And I did. I gave him an odd 6. I had 2 of them.
He took it?
Yeah, he took it.
Like an brick.
Yeah, I know.
Shitty backup.
Yeah, well, I had a backup. That's why I just wanted out of there, brother.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I went back to Stockton where my dad lived. And I started looking up these people, and I got a hold of the paranormal groups that I had dealt with prior to moving into my claim. And that's a whole different story we can get into later, maybe, because it has a lot to do with these people, I think. But anyway, I spent about almost 6 weeks trying to find information on what to do. I got hold of this.
Did you go back in there once you got out of there? Did you go back in right away, or how long did it take?
It took me 6 weeks to get back down there. Finally, I said, fuck it. That's my gold claim. That's my gold. Gold does weird shit to you,
Yeah.
So I finally got a hold of a guy in South Dakota, and he was telling me, hey, they like fruit. They like shiny things. They like nuts. My opinion is you got to go back, and you got to not make peace with them, but allow them to know that you're not going to back off. This is your place too. You're just visiting just like they are, because they only came from August, end of July, August, when the berries started getting ripe, is when they'd show up. And then because there was like acres and acres of berries there growing now, because all the underbrush grew fast,
right?
But everything else didn't. So they're sweet berries. I mean, they were huge blackberries, and that's what they came down for. But so I brought a gift basket up with small melons, lots of apples, different varieties of apples, some walnuts, that kind of shit. And I put it in a basket with some CDs in there, and I set it up above where I thought he was at that time, and didn't interact with him at all, And a couple of weeks went by, and that's when I found out I had cancer.
Shit.
And yeah, I went down. I had 185 pound normally, and I went down to 140 pounds. So I was skin and bones. So I went into a doctor's appointment in Sacramento and came back in the evening, and I never paid attention to that thing. I just kind of forgot that it was up there. And I'm sitting there making dinner, and all of a sudden I hear these hitting the tops of the tent, and I thought, fucking acorns are all out of the trees now. The winds that came through, they knocked all the acorns out. I just finished dinner, and I started eating dinner, and then they started hitting the walls of the tent. And I thought, holy fuck, that ain't coming out of the trees. So I walked out there. Sorry. Turn that off.
So you're in a wall tent?
Yeah, I had a 12 by 12, one of the Cabela's, with the top point had a stove in it and everything. A nice tent, it was a great setup. But what had happened is I noticed that they started hitting the walls. I thought, oh shit. So I went out with my flashlight and I shined it up there, and the basket's gone. Everything's gone. And I yelled, I'm sorry, I don't have any more apples. When I go back to the store, I'll bring you some. And they shut up. They quit doing it. So I thought, well, that worked. Okay, maybe I got a chance down here.
So you weren't shitting yourself yet? Again?
Oh, I was shitting myself. I went out there, I had my sidearm on, but a lot of good that's going to do. This guy, he ends up being over 12 feet tall. He's huge. I call him the big guy. or the old
Jesus.
guy. But so next time I went to the store, I brought a couple of 5-pound bags of apples, and I just left them up there in that same spot. And I come back, and they're all gone. Well, later on the week, I ended up finding one of the bags, and the twisty thing was off of it. There wasn't a tooth mark in the bag at all. It was opened and eaten.
Right.
And they left the bag there. And I said, well, okay. Well, here comes the start of something, I think. Didn't think much of it. And just kind of ignored them. And every time I went shopping, I brought them a bag, set them up there. Let me grab this thing real quick. This thing here. Let's see if you can see that.
Right.
It's a hat tie like thing, but it's got a little pewter man on it. This whole thing was left where the bag of apples was. Like a gift.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
And I thought, well, that's better than getting trees thrown at me.
No kidding.
So every once in a while, where I ever left the bags, a crystal would show up, a quartz crystal. I came out of my truck and there was a crystal sitting on the hood of my truck. And you can see the big fingerprints where they put it on there to make sure it'd stay. But one of the interactions I had that wasn't pleasant before the screaming started, I was by my mine. Where I was camped was about 300 yards from the entrance of the mine. And I just got down there, hadn't even put the tent up yet. And I made a fire pit to cook dinner. And my buddies had just left. And I thought maybe they had stopped up on top because, like I said, it's straight down on one side, straight up on the other. And there's not really any room for anybody to fuck around by throwing shit at you. Because, I mean, the road's up there, but it's 150 yards above me. And I'm sitting there with the fire going, got my 30-06 sitting next to the truck. And I have my Toyota pickup. I just got it down there, and I had some plywood in the back because I was loading shit in it and didn't want to break the back window. And just as I'm getting into the ice chest, a rock flies right over past my head and hits the mirror of my truck and breaks it. And I jumped around and I said, motherfuckers, that almost got me. Thinking it was my buddies up there fucking around. And I said, if you want some steak, I got extras. Get your ass down here. Thinking they're going to come back around. Ha, ha, ha. We didn't almost get you, that type of shit. And I put the grill on. I'm getting ready to throw my steak on. And all of a sudden, here comes this another rock over the top, hits the plywood in the back of my Toyota and goes right through it and breaks my back window.
Jesus.
Motherfucker. So I got in my pickup and I took off. I went up and I stayed at a buddy's house. Told him what was going on. We came back down the next day, and here's this fucking giant rock sitting right in the middle. Both of us couldn't move this rock. And it's sitting right in the middle of the road where somebody put it. I said, I know that rock. My truck tires hit that rock a few times, and I looked around, and sure enough, you could see where he pulled it out of the side of the hill where it was hanging down halfway into the road. And my truck tire, I used to always have to go around that rock. He pulled it out and he put it right in the middle of the road.
So you're blocked in or blocked out?
Well, we were blocked out from getting back in there.
Oh, yeah, right.
And so we backed out. I got my camp stick, to move logs around and shit. And had to get that on there. And we both pushed it to get it over. And we rolled it off the side of the hill so we could get back in there. So that was the two negative interactions I had before the apple deposits and shit.
I wonder why they didn't want you in there.
Because of the berries, I think. Because I was destroying a lot of the berries because, you can't go through them fuckers. So I was clearing them out. And that's my opinion. I don't know if it is a fact or not.
Some people think there's some kind of connection with gold in them in the past, maybe. I don't know.
Well, and that's where I get back into this paranormal aspects of it. Because I've had a lot of interactions with them my game cameras, I had 3 game cameras. I bought a 3-pack of them after that. Started hanging them up. any time that they interacted in that area of the game cameras, the SD card would be error on
Right.
it. So I got weird shit on there, but it wasn't a solid picture of them. That one picture I sent you that down by the river, the back of that female, you know, the one that...
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that one came off of a video that I was videotaping the river, the height of the river, so I could monitor where the gold falls out and that kind of stuff, when the high water and the low water and all that shit. And I heard her coming behind me, and she was only about 6 foot tall, maybe 6.5 foot tall in that picture. And I heard her, and I just put my phone down for a minute, and I turned over, and she walked right by me, kept walking, hit the water, and then went downstream.
What?
And
you got that on video?
No, I did have it on video, but that day when I got down, I followed her down that way to see where she was going, and I had a wetsuit on because I was always in the water and no pocket, so I had my phone stuffed in my wetsuit up here, right? And I couldn't find where she went, so I took out my fishing rod and I said, "Fuck it, this is a nice pool. I'm going to see if I can catch a couple of fish for dinner." And first cast, I hooked into one, bringing it in, and I leaned over like this to reach down and get it. And my phone went right out down into the rapids.
No.
I dove in trying to get it, but it was like 20 feet deep, and I couldn't get to the
No.
bottom. And then it started taking me down river, and it's all sheer rock on either side.
Shit.
And I'm thinking, oh, fuck, now I'm going to die here.
Oh,
And
no.
I finally got a hold of a branch that was hanging down, pulled myself up on the side of the river back to where I was fishing, and was able to climb out of there, get out of there. And I was beat by then. And I thought, well, there goes my fucking phone, you know? So I never got to look at the video.
Right.
And that was the only thing that was on the cloud. I guess when I got my new phone and put my email address in there, I didn't know that the cloud automatically takes all your damn pictures that you get. So
No shit.
Yeah. So it was something that came back to my email address that I'm looking at. I didn't take that fucking picture, but that looks like that video I took a picture, took. So
Crazy.
yeah. I don't know.
It's so weird. Like, you know how many times people's phones just go dead when they pull them out on these people?
Yep. Oh, the batteries drop. So getting back to the vibrations and shit, I've been killed twice and came back. I
Really?
had two NDs. One when I was 7 years old, I got chewed up by 3 German Shepherds of all things.
No way.
Yeah, I had 157 stitches in my face alone.
Holy shit. Where was that at?
That was in Stockton back in the 60s. But
That's nasty.
I had over 300 stitches. That was even before the ER room. You had to go to your family doctor,
Fuck.
And I didn't realize I had been killed then until after I died the second time. And then a lot of that was explained to me. But I started seeing things before they happened, premonitions. I saw 9/11. I saw the wars. I saw the Loma Cueto earthquake. I saw the...
After your first time dying?
No, the second.
What happened the second time?
I went on the surgery to get ulnar nerve transplants in both arms. They take your funny bone out here and put it up here.
Yeah.
Because I had complete blockage. I had no feeling in my hands. And the first time it went fine. I woke up, my arm hurt. Second time when I woke up, I felt like a bus ran over me. And all this stuff came rushing back after the anesthesia laid off. And I remember going up, being enveloped in love around people that I didn't really know, but I knew them type thing. And being in a bright light, but it was so bright that it enveloped everything, but it was not bright to where it hurt your eyes. It was soothing.
Wow.
And I kind of put it like being in a womb, that you're enveloped in love type thing.
Right.
And I remember being pushed back down and coming out and seeing everybody working on me. And evidently they lost me 4 or 5 times when I was during that surgery. And they kept hitting me with the paddles to bring me back, to the point where they went out and told my wife that they'd lost me. And I didn't think much about it. I did, but I didn't dwell on it. I just kind of put it behind me. But then I started seeing this shit happening. And
How
then,
would you see it happening? In a dream?
no,
Nighttime, daytime?
It was kind of like being like just before you go to sleep, like when you're relaxed and in a state that you want to go to sleep, but you're just kind of relaxing. And then these visions would pictures of me being above something. Like when I saw 9/11, I saw impacts high above. I thought it was San Francisco that had happened, because it was near water, is what I saw. And I saw many people dying. I saw people jumping out of the towers.
No shit. Holy shit.
And then having to watch it happen again was really the hard part.
That must have been pretty bizarre.
Well,
there's nothing you could have done anyway.
That's the thing. Why would I be sent back with these gifts that you can't fucking control, that you can't do anything about? Why am I seeing this if I can't prevent it?
How much farther after you saw that did it happen?
That one was about 6 weeks before 9/11.
No shit.
And then the Loma Prieta earthquake, I felt it about a week before it happened. I didn't see it. I just was shaking real bad one day and thought, kind of like you have been in the water too long and you get out and you're cold, kind of like that. And I thought, what the hell? And then my stomach felt weird. And then I went to work. I was working at Laura Scudder's at the time. And I told my boss, he told me he was going to that baseball game. The World Series, I guess, was one of the playoff games there when it happened. And I told him, well, if you're going to San Francisco, you better be careful. Weird shit happens there. That's what I told him. He ended up bringing a piece of that stadium home with him. It took him 16 hours just to get out of San Francisco.
Wow.
So, but that's when I started realizing, okay, there's something here.
Yeah.
And when I saw the tsunamis hit, I saw it was above, looking at a landmass, didn't know where it was, disappear. And then reappear. And then so many dead that you couldn't count them.
No shit.
And then when that happened again, and something I'm not very proud of, I took my 357, stuck it in my mouth, pulled the trigger.
No.
It didn't go off. It
That's
didn't go off.
Well, everybody has their moments.
So I looked at it, I said, well, fuck it. Second try, went to do it, and I heard my daughter's key go in the door. And I went, oh, fuck, what am I doing? I need help.
Dude.
I need help. So, ended up, the job went away. I moved up to Pioneer to a buddy's house that he inherited. And I'm jumping a little ahead here. This was 2011. And he inherited what they called their Mace Meadows cabin. It was where they always, whenever they bought new furniture and shit, all the old furniture went up there. So it was pretty needing a lot of cleaning out. Let's put it that way. But it was on land that back in 1920s, 21, the Chaucer Indian tribe and the Miwok tribe had a trading post down there on that land. And they wanted the white man wanted the land, so they traded smallpox lace blankets to the tribes and wiped them all out. Well, they burned their bodies on the property that I was staying on because it was 3/4 of an acre. There was a spot down there that was just weird. I mean, the trees grew weird, twisted, turning, just really weird aesthetics to the forest there. And the first day I moved in there, I'd be downstairs in the basement putting all the furniture down there, and I hear across the top, go up there, and there's nobody up there. What the fuck? Didn't think much about it. Next thing you know, there's glasses being thrown at me, weird shit happening. I'm having a hard time sleeping. Every time I go and lay down in the bed, I'd hear people talking, but there's nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter moved in from Texas with her baby. She was 3.5, 4 years old at that time and needed a place to stay. She came back from Texas, got in a fight with her old man. One of them people that like to think they can beat women and get away with it. You know, them fucking assholes.
I like
So, of
beating
course-
those guys.
Oh yeah, I've taken care of a couple of them myself. We'll just leave it at that.
Mm.
I'd kill them, but they got their parachute. So anyway, when my daughter moved in, she started noticing it, and my granddaughter started talking to somebody that wasn't there. And one day we had laundry coming out of the garage, and I had those little cubby holes on the sides of the wall where you put your nuts and bolts and pipe fittings and all that shit in. And I'm in front carrying a load of clean clothes, and she's behind me carrying a load of clean clothes, and all of a sudden a pipe comes out of one of those things and hits me in the side of the head. And I
No
turn
shit.
around
How hard?
hard enough to, see a little flash of light.
Rung your bell a little bit?
Yeah. And I turned around and I looked at her, and she goes, and I go, "Did you see that?" "Yeah, Dad, they don't like you."
Hmm.
And I thought, why me? Why are they just picking on me?
Who's they?
They is the Indian spirits. It was a medicine man, warrior, and a chief.
Really?
I found out later, and the chief and the one that was doing the attacking, I ended up in the hospital with blunt force trauma to the chest wall cavity.
Whoa.
Stitches in my back from the if you want to call them scratches, bite marks in the middle of my back.
Yeah.
I was literally turned over on my bed, and it felt like my whole back was getting opened up.
Holy shit.
The blunt force trauma in my chest wall it's still hard to talk about.
Yeah.
When there was three of them, they'd come in as orbs. Come in, they'd spin around my bed, and then they'd come down, they'd hold me down. And then,
What color were the orbs? Do you remember?
Yeah, they're red, a green one, and a kind of a bluish silver one.
Oh shit, that's the same color when my buddy's dad passed away in the hospital room in hospice, and him and his sisters were in there, and he got a picture of those exact color orbs up in the corner of the room.
Yeah, well, they're what I call spirit containment centers. They're how spirits travel before they decide to change, and that's just my opinion. Believe me, I had lots of interaction with them. I got literally pictures of the eyes staring at me, just the eyes, nothing else.
Damn.
So my daughter got online, because I don't do much online shit. She got online and got a hold of a paranormal group out of Stockton, San Joaquin Valley Paranormal Research. And they came up, and I ended up becoming real good friends. Crystal was the leader of it. Lisa and Luis were a lesbian couple that came up with them. Lisa ended up being one of my best friends after all this went down. But
So they're legit people.
yeah, good people. And Lisa, she's one of those people where if something scares her, you better be paying attention. And if you see her running, you better not even look back, just start running, because she'd take a bear on, one of those type of people. And every one of them had interactions with them that night. They got recordings, they got videos, they got EVPs, they got the orbs coming in around my bed. They proved it all, that I wasn't full of shit, that this was actually happening. So that made me start, okay. And they said, document everything. Get it on your calendar. Anytime, any interaction, document it. So,
and you want to just get the hell out of there?
I did, but I had no place to go now.
Right.
I was kind of locked in there. I started paying my buddy rent to stay there. My daughter was there. So I was in protection mode, daddy mode.
Right.
I just was mainly concerned them not getting hurt.
Yeah.
We could be here for hours telling you what happened, but I'll just jump to we had 4 professional investigator groups come up there. Every one of them had interactions. Being tripped on the stairs, on the back stairs, being pushed off the toilet. One guy, he was supposed to be the demon hunter, Paul Del Rogers. He'd been on a lot of these ghost shows. We brought him in. Yeah, exactly. We brought him
Yeah,
in.
right.
He was supposedly be able to stop this, right? I had a priest, my pastor from the church up there, a Baptist priest, was hanging flyers on doors one day. And he said, "Oh, Keith." And I waved at him. He came over to talk to me, handed me the thing. And I go, "Do you bless houses?" He said, "Yeah. Yeah, we bless houses all the time." I said, "You think you could bless this house for me?" He said, "Yeah, why not?" And we started walking over. He got to the threshold, Steve. He stopped dead in his tracks and he said, "I'll have to talk to you later." Turned around and almost ran away.
No way.
Yeah. And it was like he knew as soon as he got up to that threshold that he's not going in there.
No shit.
Yeah.
Pussy.
No, not really, because what I found out was Indians, they don't have a religion. They're spiritual, and so am I now, but Father, Son, and Mother Earth is what their religion is. Respect of the land type thing. And they didn't like the religion of the white man. And I found that out later when Paul Del Roberts showed up and tried to do a Catholic blessing on the house. And I told him, "You don't want to do that. You're going to piss them off." Didn't listen to me. I can handle it. He got halfway through. As soon as he got down in that basement, he ended up getting choked out.
Oh, cold?
Yeah, when he came out, he ended up having bruises on his neck, 2 hands on his throat, and it stopped him from saying the prayers.
So they could kill a mortal human being then, you figure. Obviously they could, if they decided to go the distance.
I think so, but I'm part Indian. I'm quarter Cherokee Blackfoot. And this is what the story leads to. My near-death experiences changes your energy, your frequency of your body. And I use a 3-way light bulb as a meter. People normal that haven't died or been close to death or seen the other side, they're on the low range. So the spirits above them, pay no attention to them. Once you go through a near-death experience or close to death experience, it changes your frequency level. So now you're in the medium side of that light.
Right.
So now that you got their attention. So when you're getting ready to go pass over, you're on the high level. That's when your ancestors and stuff come over and help you cross.
Wow.
Okay, so that's the way I rate the 3 levels of the spirit of action. And since I was a near-death experience, survivor of multiple times, that and being Indian lineage on my mother's side, and her grandfather was a sheriff in the Louisiana Territory back in the day. And they were the ones that ran a lot of the Indians off the reservations. He was part of that. And I didn't find this out until I talked to a shaman priestess that told me exactly what was going on the property.
Wow.
So after I had interaction with the priestess, it was funny because I just broke up with my girlfriend and I was looking for a shaman, and I went out and I talked to the guy at the hardware store and asked him if he knew of any Indian shaman around there. He goes, "Oh yeah, you want to go talk to," I won't say his name, over at the Buckhorn Bar. He's always there. He gets drunk there every day. I thought, okay. So I went over there the next day. He was gone on vacation, went back east somewhere. And the lady that owned the bar, she goes, "What are you looking for a shaman for?" And I kind of told her what was going on. She goes, "Oh, you need to talk to Angie, my sister." And I said, "You think she can help? She's a shaman priestess, and she's better than the guy that you're looking for." I said, "Oh, really? Well, please, could you set it up?" So she set it up. I told the Crystal and Lisa and Louise about it, and they drove all the way up that night, so they'd be there the next morning when we would meet her. And she pulled up, and she was almost a spitting image of my ex-girlfriend that I broke up with when I moved up there. And it was like, holy shit. And I went in and got the girls because I was sitting out having a cigarette. And I told Crystal that she was here, and she came out. And the first thing she did when she looked at me, she took her glasses off and goes, "Boy, you got one fucking hard head, don't you?" And I looked at her like, yes, ma'am. Crystal came out and she started telling everybody what their thoughts were. You know, got to Lisa and said, you need to quit worrying about your girlfriend and start more worried about paying attention to what you're going to do here, because you guys are not fucking with anything that's ordinary. These spirits that you're fucking with are a warrior, a medicine man, and a chief, and they're not fucking around. You're in a war right now, and you can't win it.
What the hell? I wonder, why are they stuck there? I wonder how.
Well, because
why?
they're there to protect the property. See, their bodies were burned. They weren't properly done through the normal way that an Indian spirit would be passed on and be able to be free. They were thrown in a pile and burned. And it was on the bottom of the property where I lived that they were burned. So their spirits are stuck there, and they're basically protecting what I call the recycle zone, vortex, porthole, whatever you want to call it, into the other thing, which I've ended up going in there a couple of times. But
it's almost like living in hell then. Like, it's like they're banished to do that for all of eternity instead of passing on to the other side.
I believe earth is hell. That's where we come to try to make amends, and we keep coming back until we make amends. And once we get released to go back to the spirits, then we're free again. You know, and I'm a firm believer that hell is on earth. That's where we're at, is hell. And we're here to learn our lessons. And
we create hell on this globe, that's for sure.
We do. Evil. And one thing I'd like to ask before I go any further and forget about it, I had some things down on the claim that happened to me, you know, where I turned around and said, looked up, if there's a God, why aren't you listening to me? Why aren't you doing something to prevent this shit that we're going through down here? And I said, you're not even listening. And the thunder hit. And I mean, it was like right above me. And I went out of the tent and I looked up and there was a triple rainbow coming across the top of the mountain. And at that time, the line of white clouds went across them and made a triple cross. I got a video of it.
Crazy.
And I looked up and I says, oh, you are listening. You know, it was a realization. And when I went back in, I was trying to read the Bible back then. My Bible was open to Matthew's, this part where he says, I placed a rock in your path for you to stumble upon. When I went back out and I was looking up at the sky, there was a perfect 7 of a cloud that was over the road coming in. I didn't pay much attention. I took a picture of it because it's kind of cool. And 2 days later, I'm leaving to go out to go do whatever it was I was doing that day. And there was a tree across the road, which was normal. You know, dead forest, rain, wind, get the tall ponderosas falling all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And they're old growth, huge shit. There was old growth cedars in there, too, that I ended up, they're 12 to 15 feet across, you know.
There's some bucking.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm cutting this damn tree out of the road. And I walk back, grab my chainsaw, and I walk up, and I fucking stumble. I look down, and there's this rock. Perfect round river rock. The road is cut out of rock. So it's all sharp.
Yep.
You know, blocks of rocks, nothing round. This one was a perfectly black river stone. And I stepped on it and stumbled upon it. And I looked down, and it's got a 7 on it in the grain of the, and I went, wow, that's weird. And I picked it up. I said, oh, that shit's heavy. That's got to have gold in it. And I started looking at it. Fuck, there's 1 7. There's 2 7s. There's 3 7s. 4 7s. Holy shit. 5, 6. And I flip it over, and there, at the very end of it, there's a gold sticking through the crack in a 7.
What?
7 7s.
What the hell's up with that?
Okay. Now I'm getting to start putting things together, you know. So what I'm trying to get at is I prayed on it that night when I went to bed and got an answer that humanity stone needs to be placed in the headwaters of any river that goes down to reservoirs of drinking water. All you need to do is hold it to the sky, say a prayer, place it in the headwaters, and I'll change those headwaters to holy water. This will help cleanse the people that don't know that evil is set into them. Okay. What's that going to hurt? I could do that. No problem. Yeah. The powers that be didn't want it to happen. I was heading down to the river, 55 miles an hour, coming down to the bridge that goes over the river I was going to throw the rock in. My front right tire, all 5 lug nuts shear off. I'm hitting the guardrail to go over the guardrail. As the tire comes down and hits between them, bounces me back into the road, and I come to stop in the turnout at the end of the road. Never even found my tire. It disappeared up into the trees.
What the hell?
Don't want me putting it in there? I forgot all about the rock at that time because now I was just lucky to be alive type thing.
Yeah.
And it was during the clandemic. So the tow truck, AAA, wouldn't even let you ride in the truck with these guys. They told me I had to get, a ride and to follow him in. So, of course, when the tow truck driver in rural community, you're a rural community, he goes, I said, so I'm waiting for my ride. He goes, why? Fuck, jump in the cab, man. Just jump in the cab. And I said, but they said, he said, fuck them. I know you. We're going to take it up there to the tire shop, right? I said, yep. Jumped in, took care of business. So my point of this is anybody that has their own beliefs, whether, I don't care what religion you are, if you're in the headwaters of any river, pick a rock, hold it up, Great Spirit, God, Jesus, whoever you want to call to, ask for the blessing of that stone and toss it in the river. What can it hurt?
I'm all over it.
Because I believe in a higher spirit. I've been through an exorcism. So I think a lot of this, that's what I meant about going to the other side a couple of times.
Yeah.
Get attachments. Evil likes to attach themselves to you.
Does it ever?
And I've had, not wanting to, but taking attachments off of one onto myself and having to get rid of it by going up there and calling upon my spirit guide. I call him Snake, because I went to bed one night and heard a rattlesnake under my covers.
What?
Yeah, I jumped out of that bed thinking the fucking snake's in there. It wasn't. And that's when I had interactions with that spirit. He came to me as an owl, a giant owl in my bedroom. But getting off topic a little bit. So I think NDEs, attachments removed, that type of stuff changes the frequency of your body. And I think, and I'd be curious, anybody that want to leave it down in the comments or anything, if they've had interactions with these people, if they've had NDEs or near-death experiences that they've had,
right,
and wondering if there's, the people that have gifts, maybe born with them, got them from NDEs, however, they end up with them. I think a lot of that has to do with an interaction that you have with these people.
See if there's a pattern there.
Yeah. It would be one of the closing patterns for me.
Right.
To find out if that's, I'd just be curious. See how many people that
who do you think these people are?
If you go to the Book of Enoch and look at it, they say the watchers are angels that were left behind from the flood. Go either way. I'm open because I know there's a lot of different spirits out there. I've walked with Jesus a couple times. My Gabriel and Michael are my protectors. They're the ones I've had. I don't want to call them interactions, but I've been able to cross over some spirits that were stuck in a mine that didn't even know they were dead. And a person that prayed to Satan Lucifer, as she called him, when she saw what I was doing, called upon the great light and guidance of Lucifer. When he showed up, I don't know if you can, there's a scar on my arm right here. It was an L and an E that hit me when I was passing over these spirits. And had my spirit guides not been there, I think I would have had another bad attachment. So we beat Pete out of there as fast as possible, but I don't want to go into the paranormal. I mean, like I said, we could be here for hours talking about that.
Yeah.
So, my interactions with her, the younger female that I got that good picture of. You also remember that picture of the one that was disappearing, kind of looked like she disappeared into the tree. I think they're like praying mantises or like octopus, how they can change their structure, their appearance to either blend in real quick, but I do still think they can go out of this realm into the spirit realm at
Absolutely.
the same time. Yeah. But I think they can also change their appearance and they just stay still. And we don't see in the same visual range, you know. So as long as they don't move, we don't see them. We'll walk right by them. But I do think...
Did you see the face on that female?
I did, but by the time I reached down and grabbed my camera and turned it on, she'd already started disappearing. But I'd seen her face before.
What did it look like?
They have a similar face to ours, more like a African-American nose type structure. But the younger female, she had shorter hair until she was over 8 feet tall. But I used to go out every morning and take a shit. I slept in the buff, you know, so I'd get out and walk over to the outhouse and do my business and sit there and play solitaire on my phone. And one morning it was like, okay, hair's on the back of my neck. I kind of look over and there's this spot, you know, how brush overgrows and they get like a tunnel that animals go through all the time. I look over there and it's like, is that a boob? And I'm looking, and about that time, a branch gets pulled over in front of the hole. And it's like, oh, hello. And I could see her kind of looking through the brush at me. It's okay, I'm not going to hurt you. And I turned my camera on. As soon as I put my camera up, she was gone. So,
what do you mean gone? Like moved off, or just went translucent?
Because she let go of the branch, and there was a hole there, and she wasn't there anymore. And it was on a path behind it that went for miles. It was an old irrigation ditch that they used to use for mining, for the water to blow those cannons that they used to clean the side of the hill with.
Yeah.
So, I thought, well, that was odd. And then I started noticing it more and more often. And she would be there every morning when I get up. So it was like, I tried to get videos of her, and every time I try to get a video, they know what a camera is.
Yeah.
You know? And
is that the same person in the video or the picture that you sent?
Yeah. It's the same female. But she was young. When I first saw her, she was only 6.5 feet tall.
How big do you think? Is that how big she was in the picture, you think?
Yeah. Yep. It has to be. That's the only time I got a good shot of her like that. Every other time it's been by accident. You know, that one where she's disappearing, that was by accident. I just happened to come around the corner and there she was getting the apples. You know, so you don't see her very much, the elderly one. She was around. She was around, but there was 5 of them total. In this family group. And I believe they're the same ones that they got the Sierra Sounds from, because they were very similar talking like that in that canyon.
What'd the older one look like?
The older one's the big guy. He's over 12 feet tall. He pushes trees out of his way. He doesn't duck.
When did you see him first?
Why didn't I?
No, when did you see him first?
When did I first see him? It was when I had a buddy of mine that came down. He was going to stay with me for a month to help me out in the mine. And we both came out to go get some supplies. And he got in the truck first. And I got in the truck, and he's looking up going, I said, dude, you ready? And he goes, is that the big guy? And he's pointing up the hill. And I look up and I said, oh, cool, you get to see him. Yeah, that's him. He's like 600 yards on top of the ridge. Same color as like the burnt cedar bark type thing. But there was 2 big cedar trees, and I knew those cedar trees. I'd been by there when I'd been up there brushing and looking for gold and shit. I'd been by those 2 exact stumps, and they're like 16 feet tall, and this guy was like almost even with them from where we were. But we were looking down at him up, and he was in front of them, kind of probably a couple yards or something. He was down the hill, because they never sit there on top of the ridge so that you can really see him. But you could see him, and it was like, oh, you get to see him. And I look at him, and tears are coming in. This big motherfucker. And tears are starting to come out of his eyes. He looks at me, and I said, so you got to see him? Because he was, I want to see him. I don't believe you. That type of shit. He never came back down the hill with me.
No doubt.
That was it. He was done. And it was like,
what that big
help.
one looked like? Do you ever see any features on his face?
Saw him really close up. I never really wanted to.
All right.
But I can, I've been close enough to him where if you're looking up, you're looking at his junk. You know what I mean? So, and I'm just about 6 foot tall. So, but I know when they would come down, because there was a big grizzly bear that come down. And, you know, California doesn't have grizzlies, but we want to reintroduce them to the population here. Yeah. Stupid fucks. You know? So,
grizzlies don't know any borders. There's grizzlies from BC that have been tagged and made it all the way down there lots of times.
Exactly. And the last one that was killed, supposedly in California, was in that same canyon near berry bushes. They put it in the back of a 17-foot buckboard, and it was hanging off the back. So they get big. This guy, I was sitting there. It was quiet. I wasn't running any music or anything like that. And I was just doing some book work to try to figure out how I'm going to pay for this and that to start getting some shit out of the mine. And for some reason, I got that weird feeling. And I look over, and I stood up, and I was like maybe 3 or 4 feet from the steps that go down onto the dirt that where I parked. And I took 2 steps, and my rifle sitting right next to me, leaning up against the structure there. And I look up, and there's that fucking bear walking up the road like he's going to come over to the snack bar and see if he can get a snack. You know,
grizzly, black bear.
It was grizzly. There was hundreds of black bears. I fucked with them on almost daily basis. This one, he was old, had white around his eyes and his mouth, in his ears, had that big old hump on his back. And his nose was about 6 foot off the ground, because there was one of those little sheds next to where he was that I had to duck to get in it. So it was about 5 foot tall, and his nose was just right there with it. And I thought, holy shit. And I reached around like that to grab my odd six, turn around, and he's gone. And it's like, never heard him go off into the brush. And this is August. So it's 100 degrees outside. What the fuck? But I never heard him crashing through the dry brush and dead trees. So
well, you know what? Just a little side note on that. I just had Dave Becerra in Georgia, who's got the Bigfoot Museum and everything, a solid dude. And he texted me last night, and he shared a interaction he had with a guy who saw one of these damn things, and it was around 12 feet tall. Then it got down on all fours, and he said he watched it morph into what it looked like a grizzly bear. No, first a wolf with no tail, then it morphed into a frickin' grizzly bear right in front of him, and something else.
I think I heard you talking about that.
No, I just shared that. That just came in last night.
Oh.
But I've had that guy Wilkinson in North Dakota, I think, or Idaho, same thing. Had that huge male standing looking at him.
I wouldn't doubt it one bit. I would not second guess that one bit.
No, it's been eyewitnessed too many times. It's a solid pattern.
And you know, that's a big ass grizzly bear.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I got a monster record, but grizzly bear is stuffed right behind me, and if you put him on all fours, he's just up to your, I don't know, you're above your waist a bit.
Yeah. Well, I measured his tracks because I found where he came up and started walking down the road. And then when he went off, but then they disappeared. I couldn't find any other tracks. But I saw where he got a drink out of my spring because I had a spring right there. And you could see where he put his nose in there and cleared it to get a drink. And then he walked up. You could see the wet footprints and where he saw me and where he stopped. And I measured those tracks, and it was 6.5 feet from the back of his front paw to the front of his back paw.
So he's probably 8.5, 9 foot bear.
Yeah. So, and his head,
Frogged out.
His head was bigger than the window of my truck. And I got a F-250 four-wheel drive now. And it was, I don't think his head would have fit in my truck window if he would have tried to get in there.
Crazy. That's almost sounds, you never know. It's something you never know. I mean, you got that crazy shit going on around there. You never know if that big old bastard morphed into one of those things.
I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt that one bit.
And, imagine first time listeners or whatever listening to this conversation think we're batshit crazy. But the batshit crazy part is this is being witnessed by people all over the frickin' place.
I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks.
Right.
There's one thing I don't fear, and that's death or man.
Same.
Like I said, I've been there. It's a nice place to go. It's a nice place to have been. And, I tried to go back there but the thing is I've been kept alive for a reason. And I believe that this technology that we're working on is that reason.
There you go.
One thing that once I get this property locked down in Montana, I want you to come up and check it out. I've got a vision, and I just started working with AI this year because just checking some of the work that I've been doing, wanting to double check it. Okay, is this staying within the thermodynamics and the physics and the mathematics? Are they all matching, that type of shit? And I've come up with a couple other patents that I'm working on,
right on
with that. But I believe in 3 generations, we can turn this world around. This energy project we're working on.
Is this place even going to last that long? Holy shit.
Well, that's it. But with this energy technology we're working on, it can help start it. But what our problem is, and you, I'm sure, agree with me, the way that our children are taught: read, memorize, repeat.
Yeah.
How are you going to go anywhere if that's all you do?
Yeah, it's apparent right now. The whatever they are that are in control, they have no interest in making things easier for us or healthier for us. So,
and we're running into that right now with this project.
Yeah, and there's some very intelligent people that I follow and have respect for, and they're all coming up with the same answer right now: is that there is no political answer to make things better.
Nope, but there is an answer, and the answer is teaching your kids at home
correctly. Actually teaching them.
Yeah. Well,
giving them real true knowledge.
By working with AI, I come up with this idea of an OWL AI teaching system. Okay. You teach them math, you teach them science, you teach them how to read, and you teach them proper things there, but you don't teach them history.
Yeah.
The history comes from our war fighters directly.
Or how about history or gender studies?
God, you don't even want to get me started on that.
Yeah, well, we're already getting off track anyway.
Yeah, well, I went to a urologist to drop a friend of mine off at a urologist one day, and it was right after COVID. And I look up on the wall, and I'm reading this document that they have to post for California state law on the wall, and it says something like, I'm just rough guesstimate, please let us know what gender you go by.
Yeah.
And let us know what pronoun you like to be addressed to.
Yeah.
And I looked at the nurse behind the desk. I go, are you fucking kidding me? Are we not in a urologist office?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but the state of California makes us post that. I said, I'm pointing at the sign going, are you kidding me? You're a urologist. Come on. Yeah. You're a doctor. How can you actually, in good faith, post something so stupid on your wall? State of California, it'll be our license if we don't.
No, it's just the way it is right now. The insanity is everywhere in our face. There's no even, it's not even worthy pointing it out anymore. You know what I mean?
No,
it's like,
it isn't. And it isn't. And so, a lot of things. I ended up last week in the hospital. I had a pacemaker put in last year on my birthday of all times.
Damn.
I was out prospecting with my dogs and on my quad. I got off my quad to give them some water. And next thing you know, I'm waking up with them laying on top of me, licking my face, monitoring my heart, and woke me up and it was like, whoa, what the fuck? Well, by the time I got home, it did it again. So I ended up calling 911, going in, spending a week in the hospital. They found out my heart wasn't speaking to the top part, so they stick a pacemaker in me.
Damn.
And didn't have any problems until last week. And my blood pressure just dumped down. I mean, dumped like 89 over 41 type shit.
Yeah.
And I'm getting dizzy again. I thought, fuck, that ain't right.
Damn it.
My dogs are all over me. Like, come on, Dad, come on. You're not going to go down, are you? Because they're my doctor dogs and my guard dogs. But so I pay attention to what they're acting like. So I got on, tried to get a hold of my heart doctor, tried to get a hold of my family doctor. Nobody's answering, going direct to voicemail, that type of shit. And I got up one time and my chest started, bam. It was like, oh, fuck, here we go. 911, call them. They come out, they go to the wrong spot. I can hear them down below me. It's like, I'm over here. I have to call 911 again. They're in the wrong place. So by the time they got to me, I had to walk out to meet them. And you're not right. I was completely white, no blood flowing through me and clammy, cold. It was like I was on right at that next point, that close portion of going down to the next line. So anyway, they take me to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, the heart doctor calls me back, and the guy that's putting all the stickers and shit all over me, he goes, that your heart doctor? Yeah. He goes, do you mind? Grabs my phone out of my hand. Says, he's having a cardiac issue right now. And if you can, meet us down at the hospital. We're on our way to X, Y, and Z hospital because he is having a cardiac event right now. And I thought, uh-oh, here it goes.
Yeah, shit.
Get close. And, it's like, well, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's not. No, I got to get this project done. No, I got, I want to go back. No, stick around, that type of shit. So I suffer from PTSD real bad from a lot of these spiritual events that I went through that we discussed.
No doubt.
And then after the interference with the Sasquatch down there, I respect them more than fear them now.
Mm-hmm.
I spent the last 5 years of being down there with no bad interactions, except for the ones that started it with it. That
right.
They finally realized that I'm there to help the forest. I'm cutting all the dead trees out, and I'm bringing in new life of the trees, and I'm no longer messing with their berry bushes. I let them grow, that type of shit. And we just managed to interact with each other as little as possible. But I would see them when they're there, down at the river, putting my wetsuit on, laying down, warming up on the rock, look up, and they're all on the side of the hill pointing at me like, look at the stupid hairless man, that type of shit. So it was more of I got so many pictures and shit that I've even lost track of where they're at in my phone and shit. But where I quit trying to get pictures of them. I talked to a guy on the radio one time, the Pat Walsh show, and I used to call in every week and do a Bigfoot report with him. But he didn't believe it. Oh, I don't believe it. I'd have to see one. Okay, Pat, have you ever seen two bears fucking in the woods? Well, no. Well, that means you're not out in the woods enough. How the hell are you going to see one of these people if you haven't even seen something that is there, but you never see them? How come you believe in bears? Well, because everybody sees them. Well, everybody sees Bigfoot too, brother. But nobody ever gets a good picture of them. That's it. How many pictures have you seen of bears making love? Probably not very many of them, huh? Well, no. Well, my point exactly. You got to be out there to have the interaction with them. To
Yeah.
like I said, I know their travel. That valley that I was in, the McCallum Valley. Matter of fact, Kurt Danaski, you read his story. His girlfriend was topless, splashing water on him. Remember that one?
Hmm.
I went to school with the guy,
Oh, okay.
and I know exactly where they were on that river. Exactly. Wow. It was about a mile and a half upstream from where my claim was. So, that's the corridor that they go down from the high Sierras down into the valleys.
How many times have you seen these things? Roughly.
Well, I only seen the big guy about 4 times. I've got him on camera twice, but from far away. Like when I'm overlooking the river coming down the road, I'll get out and I'll take a picture of the river, and then later on go back and look at it, and I was, oh shit, zoom in and go, oh, he's sitting right in the same spot that I always go down at.
Can you make it out? Could your average person make it out if you pointed it out?
Yeah.
You still got it?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. That's not
Send it over. Yeah.
And then the time that he was way up there on the hill, and then I saw him. There was what manzanita is, right? Big brush manzanita. There's a place that went on top of the ridge for about a mile that was just a tunnel through this 16-foot overgrown manzanita. There was a tunnel in there. I could drive my quad down there. And I caught a picture of that orb, that one I sent you, the double picture that shows it. It's kind of an orb. You can see that there's a different back in the background, and then the other one where it's not there. I sent that to you. It's one of the places I think they go to disappear.
Where do you think they're going?
Good question.
Yeah.
I had a 40-minute interaction, the one where I sent you that picture where I'm going, whoop, and they answer, and man, that fucker's right close. Well, that was the female right outside my door. And I went out there, and there's 3 of them there. Probably all of them, but I knew of 3. I could see the eye shine up the road, on the side of the road, and her, of course, she was like 6 feet away from me when I stuck my head out the door. But she went from that spot to 100 yards away in the berry bushes, like that.
No shit.
No shit. And I mean,
it's not surprising to me at all, but it's just cool to hear it firsthand.
I didn't see her run there, but she was here, then she was there. And then I look up and I'm shining my light, and I went out started going out with my gun in my hand. Then I said, all right, set the gun down. I went down, put it back on my bed, walked out, told him, no more apples. I'm sorry. And then I heard the big guy above me pushing trees over, and you could hear him boom, 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 going away, pissed off, like, fucking no apples, you bastard. But then after I heard him go that way, and I saw the eyes go back up to meet him that way, and she disappeared, he started throwing pushing trees over. I said, mellow out, motherfucker. I'm going to go get my rifle. And you could hear him still pushing trees down. So I went in, grabbed my rifle, and went, because there's a pump 30-06. And as soon as I did that, I said, everything quieted down. I said, good. I turn around to walk in, and I look up, and it's like, motherfucker. 3 shine lights right above the tree line, taken off, and they went into something that was bigger, and then
holy shit.
And I went, well, if it wasn't bad enough to have interactions with a damn Bigfoot, now they go into a fucking UFO? I thought.
Or light form anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
it's funny when you described him, probably 3 winters ago now. I've shared this a bunch of times. I was driving out to that Steelhead River that I go to that's pretty remote. And every single native person I know has seen these beings standing in that frickin' river, every one of them. And I looked across the valley, and that thing was standing there. I never really did say how tall I thought it was, but it was frickin' huge, man. And it was charcoaly black. If you glanced, were never there before, you probably would have thought it was a great big, huge, burnt out stump.
Yep.
But I'll bet you that thing had to have been 14 feet around there.
Yeah, 6 foot shoulders. No neck.
More, it was standing. I think it might have been standing sideways, if not quartering a little bit, facing the direction I was going. So
Yeah.
it was almost uniform in thickness from the bottom up, but not quite. But it was quick. It was kind of like this, like, oh shit, what's that? Oh shit.
Yeah.
I don't feel like seeing that, and I just kept on going, ignored it, and went fishing for that. It was first light, misty and rainy, but I mean, I'd driven that.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
It's like I said, the time when I looked over there and saw her boob, it's like, man, I've been down here too long.
Yeah.
I just been down here too long, motherfucker.
So have you've seen how many close up or fairly close faces have you seen in broad daylight?
I've seen her face multiple times. She's actually not a bad looking Sasquatch. Yeah, being.
More human like, more human, more
She's
animal like.
Yeah, you could tell her face is female. You know, she's just got that kind of a
Feminine features.
She's not gorgeous or pretty or anything like that, but she for a Sasquatch, she's a good looking, but she's young. Now the elderly lady or being, I've seen her twice. That one I got her where she's disappearing, and another time when she was getting the apples, she just kind of looked around the tree, and I said, "Hi," and I kept on doing what I was doing because I didn't want to. At that time, I was just that was my hi, good morning, or that type of shit, and you know, I really think they saved my life once, and I watched this cub grow up, a mountain lion. And I had a hernia operation that they put that bad mesh in me and it failed. And the doctor had hooked it to my testicular nerve.
Oh, so God. Seriously?
Seriously.
Oh, Jesus.
So when it failed, it was like getting kicked in the balls all the time.
Just say it right there. I would have been me put the barrel in my mouth and my toe on the trigger.
Yeah. Believe me, it got to that point. And I don't know if we want to go back into that or not.
That's all right.
Yeah. But anyway, there was 3 feet of snow on the ground, and I couldn't get out with my truck whether I wanted to or not. And I was bleeding from the wound. Right?
Oh, God.
And I had to get out of there because I'd called my daughter, and she said, "Dad, you need to get to the top where the ambulance can get to you." So I may normally make that walk in 40, 45 minutes, 3 miles out. And with 3 feet of snow, you know, there's fallen trees over the road and that kind of shit. And I'm climbing over this tree and I slip and go down on my crotch, right in the balls, you know, passed out.
Oh, no.
And I wake up and I got blood on my arm, blood on my pants. And I call 911. I get past that one spot where I on the phone with the 911 operator. I left there before 9 o'clock in the morning. Time they loaded me up, and the ambulance was 2:45. But I crossed the path, and there's a cat tracks going across the road. And I thought, uh-oh, that's not good. And then I go around the turn, and here's the tracks of one of these beings. And it wasn't the big guy, but I think it was her, the younger one. And she's following the cat tracks. And I thought, cool. At least she's watching out for me. And I crossed the cat tracks again on the road above it. And there's another tree over there. And I'm talking to the 911 operator, and it says, "Well, there's mountain lion tracks here, ma'am." She goes, "Well, they're not going to bother you." I said, "You don't understand. I'm bleeding." She's hungry. She's not sticking by because she likes to watch people walk. You know, they usually leave if they see you. And I got it to this next point, and the tracks of the female were going across the road. And I got up to this, probably a mile from the top of the road, and I just collapse. And I tell the lady, and I got my 9mm on my side. I'm in my full winter gear, you know. And I'm just collapsed. And I'm laying there, and there's one of those tunnels that, you know, animals go through from the snow on top of the shit. And I'm laying there against this log. And I could smell the wet cat smell. And I look up and I could see two eyes up in the thing.
They're actually pretty stinky, cougars.
Yeah, they are. They are. So I reached in, I'm pulling my 9mm off my side, and I said, man, I'm going to take a shot. And I went back like this, and I took one shot, and the 911 operator just went off. And I said, ma'am, have you ever smelled a mountain lion? She goes, what do you mean? I said, have you ever smelled a mountain lion? She goes, no. What does that have to do with shooting your gun off? I said, that's how close she was. Oh, my God. Well, you got the firefighters are coming in to get you. And about that time, I could hear them coming down the road, stomping. And that cat, I think, was sitting there because she was around and wasn't just grabbing me because, I mean, she was 10 feet up the tube. And I think that having the smell of that female around was keeping her from coming down there and getting me. It's just my opinion, because
you never know.
I seen the cat tracks and I see her tracks. They're always going in the direction.
Usually our guts are right on the feelings we got, right?
Yeah. Well, like I said, this is my story. If anybody wants to believe it or not, I don't give a fuck. This is we're two guys bullshitting,
Yeah.
on the story.
Yeah, I got a quick question, a little off topic, but I've always been curious about this because I do have a curiosity in gold. Like my grandfather, he knew how to find gold, and he showed me about that dark sand. You lift up the boulders in the river, and you look for that dark sand. But were you, were you like doing the sluice boxing for gold, or were you blasting it out of the tunnel?
Both. But
really?
See, the thing is, when I'm by myself, working inside the mine's not smart nor safe.
That's got to be nerve-wracking going in a hole in the ground, man.
No, I like it. Especially
how far in?
It was it went over a mile in.
Holy shit! No way.
Yeah. Then there was
how big was the? Could you stand up in it?
Oh yeah. It was an old mine shaft, and I think it was it had tracks in it and everything. It had an old mine cart in the very back where it collapsed.
No way.
Yeah, and I found the opening. It was well over a mile away from the entrance.
Holy shit!
After the fire came in, they cleared a spot to stop the fire from crossing it. They stopped in this one spot, and there's a hole that goes straight down. That hole went right down into the place where my mine shaft went through.
Wow. So did you find much in there?
The place was loaded with gold.
Really?
Yeah, but it was so fine. It was old gold ore. Okay, the difference between placer gold and gold ore is mixed with a different, like sulfides. Okay, so the sulfides would be either coating the gold, or most of the stuff that I got out of there looked like a cap off your tooth, gold cap that came off. It was sharp, real edges like that. There would just be little pieces of that. So it was really hard to capture. You'd have to smelt it down, and I lost more than I was able to get out of there because I'd overheat it, trying to get it out of there, and there's a whole process that you have to go through to get it. And it just takes the proper equipment.
Right.
And I was
what about the river? Did you ever find any big nuggets?
Not big ones, but I found, what we call pickers. Because, I go down there and clean them out every chance I get. The big gold was in spots where I couldn't get down far enough. There was, you see the holes in the bedrock that are round, and it looks like a pot that's been cut out, and there's usually a rock down in there that turns like this, and it wears it out. Yeah. There was spots in there that's 6-8 feet deep that I tried to get down in there and get to the bottom of, but with the water going through there, trying to hold yourself down and everything, they made it illegal to use the suction dredge in California now.
Of course.
You can't get in there, and we did. We brought one down there, but you got to leave it there. And, that's a $5,000 piece of equipment you got to leave down in the bottom of a river.
Right.
Because you just can't get them out. The only way you get them out is by helicopter, basically, or a bunch of guys carrying them out and taking 2 days to get them out of there,
Wow.
because of the weight.
My grandfather, he had a little, like a medication bottle, the old one, the clear bottle with the snap lid, and he had that full of his little nuggets and stuff. Like he found some nuggets that were like the size of a small marble.
Yeah. Well, a friend of mine had one 4.5 ounces, the size of his thumb, that he picked out, and they're there. But yeah, the gold is it's an amazing metal.
Yeah.
Once you see it and you get the gold fever, I got it. I mean,
No doubt.
it made me go back down there when these people were there, not want me
Yeah,
there.
right.
I mean, it's
that's some drive.
amazing. You know, and like I said, I spent a lot of time out there looking for it and prospecting for it and mining for it. But placer gold in the places that you go, it's like that last one where you caught that big stillhead, that the tunnel there,
Yeah.
with water running through there.
Oh yeah.
Brother, look right at the base of that when you get a chance.
Guaranteed. I was thinking that when I saw
yeah.
the video after running the GoPro. I'm like, holy shit, imagine how much gold's in this trough.
Yeah, and right before it goes into that, if there's any kind of uplift or rocks, look right in front of them or right around the base of it. It'll be stacked in there.
You'd have to be like full diving equipment, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Well, we call well, I forgot sniping. You know, you put your mask on and your snorkel, and you just go around and you use your hands to clear the sand away and the cracks and stuff, crevices.
Just keep taking stabs
at
it.
You get those booger suckers, or what we call sniffer bottles, and you just start sucking the shit out of there, and then put it in your sand, and then wash it out. That's how you get most of it. But
there's gold in that river. Holy shit!
Oh hell yeah! The way that it looks, and it's funny when your original song that comes on, when you're flying over that with the drone and shit. My dogs hear that and they come running in. They just sit there waiting for the animals to come on. And then they jump up, start barking at them.
Shit. Huh?
They hear that song, they come running out of the room, sit down right in front of the TV watching, waiting for you. So that's my story, brother. I'm sticking to it.
It's pretty good. I'm going to have to dig in my emails again and find those photos. I'm pretty sure they should be in there somewhere. I got so many frickin' emails.
Oh, yeah. And I sent you a bunch of them over the years. I started sending them to you probably just before you lost those 2,500. So a lot of them may have been in that.
Yeah.
That's when I was going through this, finding out to see if they could fix my fuck up with that hernia mesh shit.
Yeah.
And, they told me that they couldn't fix it. They went in and spent 4 hours in there clearing out. They took a 1.5 pounds of scar tissue out of my gut.
Oh, gross.
That was in there.
Yeah, I'll go in there. I'll do a search on your email in the emails and search them out. I should have them in there, and then I'll throw them in here. And then if not, I'll just email and you can throw them back at us.
Yeah, like I said.
Remember, and that one of that great big bastard standing on the high land there too. That'd be a good one to look at.
Yeah, okay. That one was down. It wasn't the time we saw him
down.
Yeah, that was down on the river. Yeah, and you could see him straight up. He's standing right on the bedrock. And
So what do you think these things are? Do you got any weird feeling of what they are? Purpose? Anything?
I don't believe they're here to do us harm. I'm not saying that there isn't any that are out there to do that would. I'm saying that the interaction that people have with them and the reason they scare them is just for that reason. They want to be left alone just like we do.
I know, but I just don't understand. Like I was talking about it earlier, I just don't understand why they present themselves to so many humans so many times, not knowing who that human might be connected to.
Well, I think a lot of those are the young ones fucking around. I really do. Just seeing as far as what they can do. Because, I mean, I've had so many interactions with them that I just kind of blew them off after a while. Because it was getting to be normal for me. And I actually felt comfortable when they were around. So, because, you know how stupid black bears are. They walk right up into your tent when you're sleeping. And, some of these bears down there get pretty big because of the berries and shit that are down there. And
they killed a lot of people, black bears.
Oh, yeah. And, I learned instead of grabbing my gun, I grabbed 2 pots, start slamming them together, and they take off faster around hearing noises like that than they do hearing a gunshot.
Yeah.
Because I shot the gun right at their feet, and they just looking at me like, huh, what?
Right. I've made the decision on more than a few real dumb ones for them.
Well, I just, number one, I don't really care much for bear meat. These bear meat I've had, they make good pepperoni.
Yeah.
That's about it. So I don't kill nothing unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
No, I do hunt, not as much as I'm going to be hunting as soon as I get up in Montana. Hunting California is just like, you'd be lucky. There's so many idiots out there. Let's go shoot our guns and get them on sight.
Right.
Yeah. They get up there before they go hunting, and then they start firing their rifles to sight them in before they go hunting the next morning.
Yeah. Hey, when's the last time you had an experience with one of these beings, the Sasquatch people?
It was just before I left. That's when I was gifted this, because I went down there and I left a bag of apples. I had to destroy my building and stuff. I had to put it back into the way it was before I got there. Otherwise, I faced the federal government. And I had a standoff with them with guns pulled.
Lovely.
Also. Yeah. Well, they come out and my dogs were out there. They were just pups. And they pull up and the dogs surround them and barking at them. Get your dogs under control or I will use lethal force. I came out with my rifle, my gun on my side, and I said, those are my kids you're fucking talking about. And he says, you need to put your gun down. I said, you first. And they said, it doesn't work that way. I says, it does in this camp.
Oh, no.
I set my gun down, my rifle down, kept my pistol on my side. I said it right there. Now step away from the gun. Fuck you. You step away from your gun. And there was two of them. One of them gets out, and he was a geologist, not a ranger. And he goes, are we good? I said, yeah, I'm good as long as you don't fucking try to shoot my dogs. I called him back, put him in the trailer. And the guy gets out, gun in hand. And I reached over, I said, put your gun down. Just like that. I said, we don't play this game up here. Yeah, but you need to get your stuff out of here. That's fine. Put your gun away and I'll put mine away. So he put it back. And I said, you might as well just stay in the fucking truck and I'll talk to this guy. And that's what I did. And he stayed in the truck. It's like, I ain't playing that game.
Yeah.
You know, you take my guns when you take my dead cold fingers from around the hot barrel.
Yeah, right.
You know, I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah. But that's funny on that gifting thing. It's funny. It reminds me, like, old girlfriend of mine years back. She had that one loping beside her car, looking in the window at her in that snow blizzard 6 inches away. And then later on in life, near just up the road from where I was living, previous town, they left an antique camera on the trail on the bluff behind her house where she did her hikes.
Well, I don't know where they found this, but it's a neat little item. I mean, it's missing one of the, it's got these things on the end. This one's missing. But when I first started going down there, and Lisa went down there with me, I had these protection beads that they'd given me for the paranormal stuff. And one was the shape of a hand. One was a rock that had an eye, like they called it the evil eye rock. And another one that was hanging on my necklace. When we were trying to clear a spot on the road, evidently it broke and fell off, and I'd lost them. And I come back one time after leaving the gift there, and here's this, what they call it's just like this, but it's a hand with a eye rock in the middle of it, and it's sitting right where the apples were.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, they found my old, I wonder, can you find the other ones? They never brought them, but I mean, it's like, well, if you found that, can you find the other ones? But, they see shit like that laying around from people, I'm sure, and just pick it up because they're curious of it.
They might have a whole bunch of shit stashed away somewhere that they like holding on to.
They probably do, because those rocks that were getting thrown at me that went through my back window and went through that plywood, that was a round rock too. And there's no round rocks up there. They're all from the mines up there that have been put in place. So
yeah, that's common though. That's common for people to have a river rock show up out of the air from. Yeah. There's no river rock for miles.
But when they give us warnings first, such as that placing that big rock right in the middle of the road. That's telling me
definitely making statements.
Yeah. And he could as accurate as they are with throwing shit. He could have taken my head off that rock, but he didn't. You know? And
Yeah.
I looked, I got my binoculars out. I'm looking everywhere to see. They could throw an acorn, and where my camp was, there's a flat spot, well, it's semi-flat, flatter than most spots, and then it drops off the edge. And that edge, to get down to the river, I had 4 ropes over 100 yards in each rope. So coming back up, I could use it for climbing back out. That's how steep it was to get down to the river.
Wow.
And there's landings all the way through there, but most of them were like 100 yards out. And they could throw a fucking acorn and hit my tent. Now, if you're standing on the side of a hill like that, and we try to throw something, we're going to lose our balance and probably fall backwards.
Yeah.
But they could throw it with that kind of accuracy. And when it didn't get my attention hitting the roof, they started hitting the side of the building with it. And the tent. So, I'll send you some of the pictures of that. Everything I built down there was with a chainsaw. All the wood was cut with a chainsaw.
Sure, well, send them away. If you want, you can send them today or sometime this evening, because this isn't going to go up for a day or a couple days anyway.
Okay.
There'll be time to throw it in there.
I'll get through there. See, I had to put it on my laptop because my phone, the battery drains out of it so fast. I have to keep it plugged in, and then when I plug it in, it's hit and miss on the the connection. I think we've got a pretty good connection this time, don't we?
Yeah, let me have a look here. Where's my frickin'... What's happening? Stupid readers. What is it? Yeah, it's right up. What the hell? How'd that happen? They were right... Oh, here they are. See, you're blind.
Well, I've lost...
Yeah, you got like 10% left to go, so we'll shut the recording off, and then you just got to hang there and leave this open for a little bit until it says it's loaded 100%.
Okay.
Mine's at 99. You're at 90.
Okay.
But that's how it works. But anyways,
can we still talk after we shut it off?
Yeah.
Second? Okay. Let's do that then, and we'll hang on.
I'll just thank you for everybody for coming on here and sharing the truth, man. A lot of people going to appreciate it.
I'm glad we could do it. You know, we tried to do it earlier, but, you know, the way I'm looking at it right now, the way they've been fucking with us on this, fuck them. You know what? Fuck them. Get it out there, people. I just tell everybody out there, help is on the way. The technology's there.
Right on.
And we're working on it. We're working on getting the energy to everybody.
Hey, I got a quick question.
Sure.
I got a quick question. You know that guy that took your 30-06? Do you think he's listening?
Nah. Well, maybe. I doubt it.
Well, if he is, dude, you suck.
Rocco, he knows who he is. And if he's got some balls, get on there and call Steve up. Tell him back my story up, brother.
Yeah. Give the rifle back, you pussy.
You know what happened is he took it over to his girlfriend's house, and their house caught fire, and it got the bluing burnt off of it, and some of it is my dad's old semi-auto.
It sucks.
So, I'd like to get it back so I could restore it because it was a good gun. But
all right, I'm gonna stop record on here.
All right.